Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And today we are talking about one of the most feared assassins in the entire Dominion. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to say something that truly comes from the heart. Seeing Olympus Alliance featured in the game news. Honestly, it's an incredible honor. To the community managers, thank you. Deeply. Thank you for your support, your communication, your trust, and for everything you do behind the scenes for this community. To the developers and the entire team behind Hero Wars Alliance. Thank you for creating a game that brings players together from all around the world, and for continuing to push the game forward. And most importantly, to this amazing community. Thank you. Because without you, none of this exists. Every view, every comment, every discussion, every disagreement, every strategy talk, every laugh, every moment shared around this game. You are the reason Olympus Alliance exists. This channel was built with passion, but it only has meaning because of the people watching it. Your support, your trust, your feedback, and your energy inspire me to keep creating, keep improving, and keep giving my absolute best. This recognition doesn't belong only to me. It belongs to the community. It belongs to everyone who believed in this channel. And for that, I am truly grateful. And of course, Olympus Alliance team, work, test and debates all time. From the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Now, before I get emotional, because last week's personally has been terrible, let's begin. Yasmin, the concubine of daggers and guardians. There is a reason players become nervous whenever they see her standing on the opposite side of the battlefield. Because Yasmin is not the kind of hero that slowly waits for the fight to develop. No. She strikes fast. She strikes suddenly. And very often, she strikes before the enemy even understands what is happening. Just like a venomous snake hiding in the shadows. The danger is not only the attack itself. It is the speed. The unpredictability. The pressure. And once Yasmin begins building momentum during a fight, things can spiral completely out of control within seconds. Because at her core, Yasmin is one of the fastest attacking heroes in Hero Wars. Her basic attack speed is absolutely absurd. And combined with her naturally high critical hit chance, the result becomes terrifying immediately. Because many frontline heroes depend on timing to survive. Armor artifact activations. Defensive rotations. Support stabilization. But Yasmin often attacks before those protections even appear. That is what makes her so dangerous. Before the enemy properly stabilizes, she is already landing critical hit after critical hit after critical hit. And every one of those critical strikes applies poison. Not normal pressure. Pure damage poison. And Guardians. That changes everything. Because pure damage ignores the traditional defensive layers many teams rely on. No armor. No magic defense. The poison simply enters directly into the target and keeps growing stronger. And what makes it even worse? The poison stacks. Up to 10 times. That means Yasmin does not simply poke enemies once and stop. She keeps injecting pressure continuously until the target slowly collapses under overwhelming poison damage. And this is where her gameplay becomes absolutely beautiful to watch. Because Yasmin feels alive on the battlefield. Fast movement. Relentless attacks. Constant pressure. Constant danger. The enemy team never truly feels safe while she is active. But Guardians. The truly terrifying part of Yasmin begins when she uses her ultimate. Because unlike many assassins that simply jump toward the nearest frontline enemy, Yasmin hunts intelligently. She bypasses the tank entirely, and targets the enemy with the lowest armor. And this mechanic is spectacular, because it maximizes her assassination potential perfectly. She does not waste time attacking the hero best prepared to survive. She searches for weakness. And if that target lacks protection, the fight can end instantly. Because once Yasmin lands on the target, the battlefield explodes into critical strikes and poison stacks everywhere. And remember, all those critical hits continue applying pure damage poison repeatedly. So even if the enemy survives the initial burst, the pain continues afterward. That is what makes her feel so oppressive. The pressure never fully disappears. And after returning to her original position, Yasmin often continues attacking the exact same target with basic attacks. Meaning the nightmare keeps going. More critical hits. More poison. More pressure. And Guardians. This becomes even more dangerous because of two stats that define Yasmin completely. Critical hit chance. And dodge. These two stats temporarily rise far above normal standards during battle. And once that happens, Yasmin becomes extremely difficult to control and extremely difficult to stop. Because now the battlefield turns chaotic. Enemies start missing attacks. Critical strikes keep exploding. Poison keeps stacking. And suddenly a vulnerable backline hero completely disappears from the fight. But one of the most underrated parts of Yasmin's design is her immunity to debuffs while attacking during her ultimate. And this is massive. Because many teams rely heavily on stat reductions, control effects weakening mechanics, or battlefield disruption to survive. But during her assassination sequence, those mechanics cannot reduce her stats. Her offensive power remains fully active. And against debuff-based compositions, that becomes deadly. And as if all of this pressure was not enough already, her poison also reduces incoming healing on affected targets. Which means surviving her assault becomes even harder. Because now enemies are taking critical strikes, suffering pure damage poison, and healing less at the same time. That combination is brutal. And this is exactly why Yasmin remains one of the most consistent threats against vulnerable heroes in hero wars. But Guardians. What makes Yasmin truly special is how easily her few weaknesses can be solved through the right teammates. Because Yasmin by herself is already dangerous. But surrounded by proper support, she becomes monstrous. And immediately we begin with Byrna and Octavia. This combination is absolutely beautiful around Yasmin. Because both heroes accelerate one of the most important things for her, tempo. Energy gain. Byrna massively helps Yasmin reach her ultimate faster while simultaneously sustaining her during fights through healing and support. Meanwhile Octavia amplifies dodge to magical attacks and increases battlefield fluidity around the composition. Together, they solve speed problems beautifully. Yasmin becomes faster, safer, more explosive. And that alone can completely overwhelm opponents. But then we move into another extremely important part of supporting Yasmin, protection. Because even assassins need stability to fully dominate fights. And this is where heroes like Alvanor and Soleil become incredible. Alvanor continuously reduces incoming basic attack pressure against allies while healing and stabilizing the battlefield. That protection remains active constantly. Meanwhile Soleil brings something different. Reflection. Negative effects. control attempts, disruption. All of it suddenly risks being reflected back toward enemies instead. And this is amazing for Yasmin because one of the biggest ways to stop assassins is through control. But now, enemies risk punishing themselves while trying to stop her. That is strategy. That is synergy. And Guardians, we still are not finished. Because if you truly want to amplify Yasmin's offensive potential to absurd levels, then heroes like Hus and Sebastian become incredible partners. Hus brings enormous healing stability while increasing critical hit chance for the entire team. And for Yasmin, that is perfect. More critical hit chance means more poison stacks, more assassination pressure, more battlefield momentum. And then comes Sebastian. And Guardians. Sebastian beside Yasmin becomes terrifying. Because not only does he further increase critical hit chance, he also adds pure damage every single time allies critically hit. And Yasmin critically hits constantly, meaning the battlefield becomes flooded with non-stop offensive pressure. But Sebastian goes even further. He also destroys the armor of the nearest enemy. And once armor begins collapsing, Yasmin becomes even more lethal during her ultimate sequences. Targets simply melt. And this is exactly why Yasmin remains one of the most dangerous assassins in hero wars. Not because she is simple, but because she combines speed, critical strikes, pure damage, poison, dodge, pressure, and intelligent targeting together beautifully. She does not slowly wear enemies down. She hunts. She isolates weakness. She punishes vulnerability. And once momentum begins, she rarely stops. And Guardians. That is what makes Yasmin so exciting to watch today. Because surrounded by the right allies, she transforms from an assassin into a complete battlefield nightmare. So Guardians, what is your favorite Yasmin combination right now? And which supports do you think unlock her full potential best? Drop your thoughts below because this hero continues evolving with every new synergy entering the Dominion. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.